Good morning, family. Muy buenos días a todos. Es placer estar aquí con ustedes. For those of you that are Spanish impaired, welcome to the 21st century. Latinos are the largest, fastest growing emerging majority in this country. Only Asians are growing faster than we are, but we're much larger than they at 53 million people. And it's so good to see Werner for the first time actually taking a chapel to celebrate Hispanic heritage, and we feel pretty good about it, and so will you. Because our largest number of students on this campus, minority students, tend to be Latinos. And because they represent a broad spectrum of a lot of issues, it's often easy to go invisible. So I want to do something this morning that's very, very unique. I want everyone that identifies as Latino or Latina to please come up here and join me on the platform, okay? If you're faculty, if you're staff, if you're student, whatever, I want you to get up from your chair right now and come to the front and stand up here so that we can all see what we look like, all right? Come to the front, everybody. If you identify as Latino, Latina, faculty, staff, whatever, up on the platform, behind those mics, so that we can see you up there very strongly. You're surprised, aren't you? You didn't think this many people would show up. Way to go. All right, stand up there. Let's get going here. All right, take a look at that. Kind of spread out so that we can kind of see you in one row kind of a thing. Look at this group. Look at this beautiful family, all right? Now, what do you notice that is unique about this group? Anybody? What do you notice that is unique about this group? Anybody notice it? Come on, speak up. The what? The whole spectrum of human colors. Isn't that interesting? If we had whites up here, you already know what they look like. If we had African Americans up here, you already know what they look like. If we had Asians up here, but then we have Latinos. And they sort of are the bridge people across all the cultures. For example, I'm going to ask this lady to step forward. Right here, just step forward right here. What is your name? Ali. Okay, I'm going to ask Kaylee to step forward. And I'm going to ask Jose to step forward. Now get real close. If you knew nothing about Ali, what would you think she was? If you knew nothing about Ali, you think that she was simply a Euro-American. But see, she's Latina. And then we get a little darker, and then we get much darker. and if we go to certain parts of Latin America, it even gets darker. And it rivals Africa. Because of the socio-historical situation of our countries and so forth. All right, step back, the three of you, step back. Now, I want you to look very carefully, and I want you to find the undocumented person here. There may be more than one. But who is undocumented here? In other words, they do not have the legal papers to be in this country legally. Can you find them? Second from the left. Way to go. Second from the left. Huh? Which, this one over here? No. All right. Anybody understand? You see, how in the world we pass judgment, and since we don't always know who is undocumented, guess what we tend to do? You're all illegal. And so go back to where you came from. So we go to Los Angeles, and we go to El Paso, and we go to San Antonio, and we go to all California, because that was us before, the Euro-Americans came and took over Mexico and took over half of Mexico from us. So this is the family here, and this is only part of our family because not everybody's here this morning. All right, I would like the undocumented person to step forward, but not just yet. And this person has an incredible story to tell. Last year in my class on ethnic relations, this person told a story, and the whole class was just in tears in terms of realizing, we did not know. You are here, and we did not know. So I'd like the whole group to step down, go back to your seats, but the undocumented person to remain. Thank you so much, everybody. Give me a warm hands. Show them some love. An undocumented person is none other than Pedro Gaitan Farfan, senior, right? Yeah. Take over, Pedro.
Good morning, buenos días, ¿cómo están? How are you? Excuse my deep voice, that's just how I talk. Welcome to Facebook Pictures. So I'm privileged to be up here this morning. I want to thank everybody that made this possible, starting from Logan. If you're here, thanks for everything. If you're not, then that sucks for you because you're missing out. And also Dr. Rosado, he kind of just insisted that I talk. And so, yeah, if I stutter a little bit, I'm sorry. It's not my accent. I don't have an accent. I'm shaking right now because I'm nervous. Today is Hispanic Heritage Month, but I really don't know what that means. I don't tend to consider myself Hispanic. And one of the biggest reasons is because I'm not from Europe. That's where I consider Hispanics to be. I grew up in Mexico, in a place where probably none of you have been, or some of you have, and some of you will never visit. If I pronounce it, you're probably like, what? But yeah, my hometown is Álvaro, Obregón, Michoacán, Mexico, and some of you probably don't even know what that is, where that is, and you'll never probably hear about it. So that's a little bit of where I'm coming from. And if you could put the first slide up. And if not, then it's all good. My slide said Mexican on the weekends, Latino college student by the week. And that's how I really feel. Here at Warren Pacific, I'm part of this group, and I'm part of this, not stereotype in the sense, but it's just this group of students who are grouped by the word Latino. And you all saw who stood up there. Some of you probably didn't know. I didn't even know like some of the students up there myself. Now on the weekend, after I leave Warren Pacific, I'll get up on a stage somewhere in the state of Oregon and perform Mexican music. Now, that's something that I've had never come across before I came to the United States. Before coming to the United States, I was never told, you're Mexican, because that's all I was. I'm pretty sure the people here, when you're asked, where are you from? You're going to say from here. So when people ask me where I'm from, I say from Gresham. That's where I live. That's just because that's my reality. That's my perspective on life. Now, I'll take you back to 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10-year-old boy back in Mexico, where me, my mom, and my sister grew up by ourselves. Not because there wasn't a dad, not because he didn't want to be involved. There was simply no opportunity for him to have a job, no opportunity for him to provide. Thankfully, he's here with me now. But one of the biggest things was my mom told him, it's either we're together or we're not. We can't keep on being separated by 11 months of the year, be together by 1, and then do this over and over again. Now, to some of you, that might make sense because you're here in college and you don't see your parents, you don't see your family. But have this into perspective. If you ask my little sister what her first experience or what's her first memory of my dad, she's going to say, when he yelled at me and said, finish my chicken sandwich. Now, if you have little sisters or little brothers and they're going through that, now you're feeling what I'm feeling. Other than that, we're probably a lot the same. We all struggle. We all have homework. We don't want to do it. We're college students. We want to have fun. I understand that. But some of you have never been and experienced through where I have. Now, that's not saying feel pity for me. That's not saying feel sorry for me. I am thankful for all the struggles that I've had because they've made me stronger. And just because I'm crying up here doesn't mean that I don't consider myself as somebody who's strong, who's going to step up for whatever injustices that are happening. But today, I want to bring you to my life. To the life of not only some, but the only Latino that you would consider Latino, Mexican, undocumented student here at Warren Pacific for 2 years. Now, what that means, you probably don't even know. I told them, but I'm undocumented. They're like, what does that mean? What are you talking about? And I told them, I don't have a social security number. I am here just because I needed a bigger opportunity. I needed an opportunity to life. Now, raise your hands if your parents work at night, during the night. If your parents work night shifts. Now, some of you might connect with this, but every night that I go to sleep, I don't know if my mom is going to come home the next day. I just simply don't know. because she's still undocumented. Now imagine going to sleep not knowing if she'll make it back when you wake up to go to school the next day. Now imagine being you yourself, not knowing if you will go back to your family when the day is done. Because you might be stopped down the road. A cop might say, "Where's your license?" "I don't have one because I can't get one." And he's going to say, "Okay, I'm going to take you in so immigration can take a look at you and see if they want to detain you. And we're going to split you from your family." Now, if that's not a reality check for you and to have appreciated for what you have, I don't know what will. And like I said, don't feel sorry for me. Because through that experience, I've been having faith, and not faith in what you all would consider faith as fact that there's a God, which I do believe in a God. But I have faith in the American dream. The fact that I work hard enough to earn everything that I've received. Now, the only thing that right now, I don't know how I got it, I don't know how I came to get it, was being here at Warner Pacific. There was a person who believed in me and said, "Here's a scholarship for you to attend." And every day I wake up, every late night I take to do homework, every single thing that I do for my education, I think about that moment when she said, "I don't care your status, I don't care what it is, I want you to come to college." Now, if there's somebody in your life, be grateful for that, because those people are going to make a difference, but there's just not a lot of them. Now, if you're missing a parent because of a certain reason in your life, maybe that's made you stronger. The biggest thing for me is that even though my parents are separated because of cultural things that happen where the male in the house works and there's issues between who brings the money home and there's all these other things that are going on, I've still come to college. I'm one of the few. Now, when I graduated from high school, I would sit in a class, before I graduated, I would sit in a class where I was the only Latino. I was the only male. I would sit in AP Calculus, I would sit in Advanced Physics, I would sit in AP Chemistry. And you know what? I said, when I go to college, that's going to be different. There's going to be more of us that are going to be pursuing higher education. Well, I came to Warner Pacific, and that wasn't the case. Now I was the only guy, period, because all the girls in my social work classes. Now, they brought an interesting perspective into my life, something that I wouldn't have been able to realize without them there. So again, I'm thankful for that opportunity. And I'm pretty sure that I made some comments that made them feel uncomfortable. So I don't know how you feel about that, but if it's bad, then I'm sorry. But I feel like there's an experience to my life that I'm thankful for and that I wouldn't change for anything. Right now, I'm standing as the first graduate of college in my family. I hope to graduate. Hopefully, I get my senior paper done, and I'll be able to graduate. But I'll be the first in my family to graduate. Now, that's going to come through hardship. That's going to come through hard work. But at the end of the day, I'm not here for you to feel sorry about me. I'm here for you to reflect on your life. And the biggest thing is, Hispanic Heritage Month doesn't mean anything to me. If anything, it means the opportunity for you all to have some fun. I don't celebrate it because I don't feel like there's anything to celebrate. My culture, my people are still being discriminated against. There's still hate. I don't know why, because I do my homework, I come every day, and I try to make the best of it. I try to show you that there are people who are different than the general stereotype of those who are not doing anything to better this community. Now, if you want to take it and say, "Well, I don't see any changes," well, that's because you're probably not looking far enough. Now, the biggest thing is Warner Pacific is changing. There's diversity that's coming on campus, but diversity doesn't just mean shades of color. That's not where it should go, right? I know that some of you are looking around and saying, "Well, I'm white, there's no diversity in me." Well, I don't agree with that. I feel like you have experiences that you need to bring up. Now, the reason why I don't celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month is because I don't need a month to celebrate it. I'm Mexican every day. I'm brown every day, and I'm proud of it. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate the education that I'm getting. I don't appreciate the opportunities. I do, and I am grateful for that. But the biggest thing in my life has been that before I came to the United States, I didn't know I was different until I got here and somebody said, "Oh, you don't know English? Oh, okay, we're going to make you draw maps and color maps for the whole 5th grade year." Then my little cousin said, "Oh, you don't know English? We're going to talk to you in English until you get it. Otherwise, that sucks for you." Now imagine being a 10-year-old who doesn't know English and all of your cousins, all their family is talking to me in English. Es como decir, "Te voy a hablar en español a ver si me entiendes." You're probably saying, like, "What did he say?" Exactly. That's what I was for 2 years until I got it down. Now, I keep on struggling with it because sometimes I get confused with there, and there. And a lot of you do, and that's your first language. So there's struggles that we all have, and that's what I'm talking about. That's the thing, that we all have something in common, but we have to look for it. Now, if you don't look for that, if you see we're all different, then of course you're going to see us all different. So just keep in mind that there's struggles that everybody else is living. And right now, my life is not that bad. I know I've shared this with Rosado, but I don't know if you all know about the deferred action for childhood arrivals. Some of you know what that is. Some of you not know what that is. And even though some of you don't like President Obama, I like him. Why? Because he's given me the opportunity to be here with a legal status. I have now a permit to be here for 2 years. I have to renew it in 2 years, but I can be here legally for 2 years. So what that means is that I won't be picked up by immigration on my way home today. That doesn't mean that I have the opportunity to go to a bigger college because I still can't get financial aid. I still can't apply for FAFSA like a lot of you do. So there's still limits to what I can do, but I feel like without those limits, I wouldn't push myself, if that makes sense. And I know that you've struggled a lot, and I know because I see people, I've talked to people that have issues in their life, and I'm not here to say I'm the only one who has issues, because I know that somebody else has it worse than me. So just keep that in mind. When you go through your day, when you don't want to do that homework assignment, when you have emotional pain, just think about it. Somebody else here at Warner Pacific, if not across the world, has worse than you. Just keep that in mind. So today I want you to reflect on not only Hispanic Heritage Day and what that means, and the fact that Cinco de Mayo is not our Mexican independence. Just keep that in mind if you didn't know that. But overall, that Hispanic Heritage Month is to celebrate what we bring, but try to embrace it, not make us different. So just keep that in mind. We're not different because we're brown. Obviously, we have a better tan, so that's obviously going to be a reason that we're going to stand out. But don't let that stop you from being in community with us. So if anybody's willing to talk and ask me about what my life has been, I'm willing to share it, as long as you're willing to share your life with me. Because I feel like there's no point in me saying, oh, this is bad happened to my life, this bad happened to my life, this bad happened in my life, if I don't talk about all the good stuff. Now, Warner Pacific has changed my life. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say it's all been perfect. It's not. There's still people who are close-minded, narrow-minded, and I still have that in my classes. And I'm thankful because I am now prepared to face the world with people that are going to be narrow-minded. But the biggest thing is I'm bringing change by being there, simply giving a different perspective. Now, in the little booklet or little paper you got when you were coming in for chapel, it said I was talking about faith. Well, I don't know because I don't go to church. I don't know if people don't consider me faithful because I don't go to church or I have any faith. But I just believe that I can make a change, and I believe that you all can be leaders. But at the same time, we all need followers. So keep that in mind. Leadership, you don't have to stand up and be the one who leads. You simply have to be willing to make a difference. Now, that's the difference in your life. That's fine. If it means getting out of your shell and being open-minded to new experiences, that's fine. Now, if you're thinking Taco Bell is Mexican food, you're wrong. So keep that in mind. There's more to it that you need to experience. Just like I haven't experienced everything, and I'm sure that there's more that I need to experience. But overall, keep in mind that we're all somehow the same. Thanks.
You know, it takes courage to say that and do that. Because the moment you put yourself out there like that, somebody can simply say, let me call ICE right now and come and pick this dude up. Because I just didn't like him anyway. And the next thing you know, he's on the way back across the border. All it takes is one person to call ICE, and he's gone. Now, I did not say that to instill that in some person here, but that's the kind of precarious nature and situation that a number of our Latinos experience here on this campus. The majority are citizens, the majority are with documents, but some are not. And what Pedro is trying to share with us is that that is a whole life situation that is different than the reality of most of you, even if you're black, Asian, or white, or whatever. A lot of Asians are in the same way too. By the way, a lot of whites are the same way too. Russians and Polacks and others from Eastern Europe are in the same situation. They're undocumented, but because they're white, nobody's stopping them. You understand what I'm talking about? All right. Hispanic Heritage Month is simply one of 5 months heritage months that the United States government has set aside to celebrate the diversity of this country. The first one is in February. Can somebody tell me what that one is? Black History Month. The second one is in May. Can somebody tell me what that is? You didn't know that one, huh? Asian Pacific Islander Month. Why May? Because on May 6, the Chinese Exclusion Act was enacted in 1882, and so that is the month that is chosen. By the way, there's another month in between, and that is March. Anybody know what March is? Women's Heritage Month, History Month, exactly. Then there's September 15 to October 15, which is the only month that is divided between two, and that's Hispanic Heritage. And then the final one is in November. Can somebody tell me what that one is? American Indian Month, Thanksgiving, so forth. You're going to be celebrating in the next month. It's wonderful for Werner to keep this thing in mind and celebrate these various heritages. Some of you say, well, what about the rest of us? You're Americans, white people here. Or you have the rest of the year. Like 8 of them. But at any rate, the beauty, what I want to talk about this morning related to faith and the reason for being here on this campus is that as Gigi read for us this morning, Acts 17:26, and he has made of one blood how many nations? All nations. Which means that all of us are family. Family. By the way, you ever wonder what the color of Adam was? The Bible tells you very, very, very clearly. He was the color of the earth. The color of the earth. Because God made him from the earth. And you already know what the earth looks like. But at any rate, God has made of one blood all nations. We are all one family. But too often, because we go by the social markers of our society, we find ourselves categorizing people, segregating them, separating them in various groups. And because we place more value on this color than on that color, then we end up passing value on human beings, when in reality, we're really all one beautiful family. And so God made this beautiful family of us, and especially after the flood, when all the nations start scattering through the earth, and different regions and zones, melanin begins to develop in the sense of it giving protection to the various zones. So the lighter skin up in the north, darker skin up in the south, again, protection from the sun. All of this, you study this stuff in your biology class and so forth. The point is that we're still one human family. Now, the beauty of, I need to somebody show that slide up there. The beauty of the Latino is that we did not exist 500 years ago. 500 years ago, there was no Mexican, there was no Puerto Rican, there was no Colombian, there was no Argentinian, there was no Cuban, there was no Dominican, there was no Salvadoran, there was no Nicaraguense. Why? Because 500 years ago, when Columbus comes to this country and comes to the New Earth, the miscegenation of the white European, miscegenation is a word meaning racial mixing of the various groups, the mixing of the various ethnic groups coming to with the whites coming here, and then with the Indian, and then with the African gives rise to the Latino, gives rise to the Mexican, gives rise to the Puerto Rican, gives rise to the various 20 different nations that speak Spanish throughout the world. By the way, and if you go by numbers, United States is the second largest Spanish-speaking country in the world, second only to Mexico with 53 million. I was speaking the other day at Sunset High School for all the Latino students, and also at Westview High School. And one of the seniors at Westview High School, Latino, comes up to me and says, "I'm Giovanni Marquez." Giovanni, I said, that's not a Latino name, that's Italiano. He says, right. And I said, you know what you are? You're evidence that Columbus landed. You didn't get the joke, did you? The Italians came, and the result was mixing with the Indian. The result was who we are today. Now, something very important, and that is this. Yesterday, Monday, was officially Columbus Day in this nation. And banks were closed and government offices were closed. Of course, they've been closed anyway. And so all these institutions were closed. Grade schools were closed and so forth, celebrating Columbus Day. Columbus Day in this country has gotten a very negative connotation with imperialism, European expansionism, and all that kind of stuff like that. In Latin America, we do not celebrate Columbus Day in the same way that it's celebrated here. There we celebrate El Día de la Raza, the day of the race. And so we what we call here Columbus Day, there's called El Día de la Raza. I remember when I went to Puerto Rico for my junior year abroad, and for Columbus Day we celebrated El Día de la Raza. I was, whoa, because I left Puerto Rico at the age of 6, so I didn't know any of that stuff. So I go back and experience that. And there's where I got my first exposure of what that really means. So instead of celebrating some politically correct or something that ends up being negative in people's minds, we celebrated the beauty of the mixture of the various groups that have come together as a result of these groups, matrices, these roots coming together and forming the new peoples that did not exist before. And we celebrate that heritage in a very beautiful way. And my concern, what I want to share with you here this morning in terms of our own mission as a college, is that because we are already a multi-ethnic people, white, brown, black, with Asian roots as well, because a lot of Chinese came to the Caribbean to work in the sugar canes and others. Out of that mixture, out of that mestizaje, that's a Spanish word for racial mixture, out of that mixture, out of that mestizaje, comes forth the beautiful people that you saw up here. And depending on which of those regions of the world, that group was the most dominant. If you go to Panama, for example, the African heritage was dominant. If you go to the Dominican Republic, the African heritage is dominant. If you go to Cuba, you have both the white and the African heritage. If you go to Puerto Rico, and there you have more the traditional-looking Latino, like myself and like the group that you saw here. And you have these various groups, but depending where it is, if you go to Costa Rica, you could not tell a Northern European from a Costarricense because of the whiteness of it, and yet all of us. So here's the point that I want to make. Latinos stand in a wonderful situation today of being a pueblo puente. Pueblo puente. If you know your Spanish, pueblo is people. Puente is what? Bridge. We stand in the wonderful opportunity of being a bridge people. Bridging what? What do we bridge? This whole racial differentiation that we have in this country. We have blacks and whites. We have browns and all in between. And therefore, because of that, we place more value on one than on the other because of the way we socially set up. But yet this college has set itself up to go on record that we are not going to do that. That we are going to value diversity, that we're going to value the richness of this school, that we're going to value the richness of our student body. And that means that we need to take that seriously. And what I'm asking today, in paraphrasing Dr. King, is that all we ask is that Warner Pacific College be true to what it wrote on paper. You cannot say that we're going to do this and then not do it. And therefore, we need to be honest and caring for each other. We are a bridge people. And by bridge people, we stand in a very wonderful potential position to be able to bridge the various ethnic racial divides in this campus and in this country if we will take it seriously. Part of our problem is because too many of us as Latinos and Latinas have bought into the discrimination in our own society. We ourselves have problems with our own identity. One of the big problems that Latinos and Latinas have in this country is that they don't know who they are. And I love what Pedro said. He says, I'm Mexican 24/7, 365. I don't have to abnegate who and what I am. And I remember when I was a little kid in 4th grade, I went out to the playground and playing with my buds. And one of my classmates says, Caleb, did you take a bath this morning? I said, yeah, I did every morning. Well, you failed to wash all that dirt off. And I looked and said, what dirt? And then it dawned on me. I failed to wash the dirt off. And I remember going home and taking one of those razors and starting to shave my skin to try to make it white. Family, what the gospel says is that we're all children of God. And if we come to this chapel week after week after week, year after year, and we raise our hands and praise God, out of that celebration needs to come the realization that the brother, that the sister next to me, whatever their color, whatever their class, whatever their legal status, they're one with me. They're part of my family. And if they speak a language a little bit with a different accent, if they don't quite know English totally, if they're not quite there where you are, then partner with them, know their story, get to know them, because we're one family, we're one people before God. And that is what the message that Latino Heritage Month is trying to say. We are all one family. We come from all these different races, and we as a people already emulate that in our very person. And if I can bridge all those three roots, black, brown, and at the white, in one person, because that's what you're looking at. You're looking at a person right here who's Puerto Rican. What does that mean? It means that I'm black, that I'm brown, and that I am white. And when you take the color black, red, yellow, and white, and you put them together, you know what color you get? Brown. And you're looking at it. Therefore, out of that framework, let's praise God together. Let's worship God together. And let's keep this college true to its mission, to respect and to honor even those that decide to come out. And for that we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. This is prayer.